Hi, I'm Gary DeHart, publisher of Insightful Accountant. Welcome to another episode of Accounting Insiders. Today I'm here from Xerocon 2022 with Hamish Cook, Cookie, and Hamish is right, or Hamish?
Close enough.
You
Yep.
said it. You said like
Cookie's
seven
good
different
enough.
ways,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so we just go with Cookie
Yeah.
because everybody gets it wrong. Who is VP of product here in the U.S. and then Ben Richmond, who's country manager here in the U.S. So thanks for taking some time out with me today. I certainly appreciate it. And really, as we were talking before, really this is just kind of a platform to let our audience know what is Xero up to. Well, who are the two of you, right? What is Xero up to? What do you do in your roles at Xero? And then, what do people have to look forward to with Xero in the near future? If there's things in the roadmap you can share. Obviously, there's things you can't share. But so, who wants to go first? Cookie? Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump on.
Wait,
All right,
Ben?
jump
Yep.
in.
Go
All right.
Yeah, so I've been with Xero coming up 10 years, and the first 4.5 was in New Zealand where the business was founded, and then been up here in the US for 5 years as we're really looking to scale a US business. So I started off life as a chartered accountant, so sort of love being on the other side of the fence, helping partners go through that change journey. So we're at Xerocon. It's the first time we've had all our partners together in 3 years in person. It's a pretty big event. There's lots of great announcements that we've had today, which we'd love to share. But I think the two key things for me is, one of the things we really want to make clear today was how important the North American market is to Xero. Like, it is our most important market as we think about scaling Xero globally. We've seen a massive shift of both our product engineering talent coming up here. We've got new leaders like Chris O'Neill, our Chief Growth Officer, coming on board, who looks across the Americas, our apps and services and ecosystem business, Jug, who runs engineering. So we're starting to see a lot of leadership landing here in the US. We're building out our talent across the US and our hubs and in Toronto. So the US and Canada are very important to us as we look to grow here. The second thing is a big message from today is, and for the advisor community, is the commitment to them. Like, you are front and center, and we know that the power of Xero is not actually the technology. The technology is great. The magic is actually what the advisors are doing with that technology with their small business clients. And so, we're seeing huge growth in CAS, the client advisory service segment. A lot of the leading firms in CAS are using Xero as a platform, and we're pretty clear on what we want to be. So we don't see a world where we compete. I got asked a tough question on stage earlier in the day about, are you ever going to compete with us when we get to scale? And we say, absolutely not is the answer. So we want to build great technology. We want to partner out with a partner-first strategy. And in our markets like Australia and New Zealand, where we have that dominance, and our market leader, we still have a partner-first strategy. So providing advisors with not just the bookkeeping software for their clients, but the tools to run their practice, both how they manage their workflows, both down to our partner edition products where they can do a lot of their internal write-up work, and so allowing firms to go to the cloud and support clients both on the cloud and in desktop as they move over time. So I'm pretty passionate about it, pretty addicted. My role is really looking across our go-to-market here in the US, so marketing, sales, our education, our operations, how we support partners to go on the journey with Xero, right from the T100 firms down to the sole traders, and then as we have our small business customers growing in our alternative channels, how we help them get going with proper accounting software and connecting them to our advisors to get them help.
Okay, I want to come back on that and touch on the app community around that and kind of how you guys work with that with the end user. But before we do that, Cookie, what do you do?
Sure.
Why are you here?
Ben's been in the business 10 years. I've been in the business 10 months.
All right.
Just to sort of as a proof point, I think, for how we are doubling down in North America and how it's the most important market for us right now. I think maybe me landing as head of product is one proof point alongside Chris O'Neill, Jug, all these people that he reeled off in terms of landing senior product and tech leadership in this market. For the real sole purpose, and what my purpose is to advocate for the experience of the advisor and the small business owner here, right? So we have a pretty globally centralized product and tech organization, but I'm fighting every day to ensure that we are having them prioritize the experience of our customers here. I'm a product manager by trade.
Okay.
It's what I love and what I do, and that's what I've showed up to do here.
Okay. Is there, like, when you go into different markets, I
Yeah.
don't have experience in
Sure.
the New Zealand market, but are the needs different? Like if you're going from New Zealand to
Yeah.
South Africa to here?
Yeah, I would say, like any piece of good software across that might be relevant across some of the Western markets, you're going to have similarities and you're going to have differences, right? Like I think Ben will probably talk to a greater degree about the accounting systems and how they're similar. But I think like when we show up in this market, for example, one of our priority roadmap features is improving bank feeds, right? Getting bank data, really high quality bank data into Xero is a must because it's the bedrock of advisory services, right? For the people that we're speaking to today. If we can't get good data in, then they can't do their jobs. And so if you think about the differences, say, between the open banking system in Australia and New Zealand and the system here, we have a much greater degree of work to do when it comes to building software and connecting into those banks. So if we didn't really land senior product and tech leadership in this country, it would be a difficult thing for us to really understand and tackle head on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then on around that app community, how much, obviously there's a lot of discussion, at least at the development level, right, between the apps and Xero. How much are you involved in that discussion, or the two of you really, in bringing apps into the fold? Because I know at one point, the conversation I had with senior leadership several years ago, I want to make sure I say this correctly because I don't want to misquote anybody. Basically, I think I asked the question of, so are you kind of getting to a point to where you're deciding what the tech stack is? You're deciding who the winners are in X, Y, and Z. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I think we need to. So I'll talk a bit about how we're helping customers find the right app and partners, empowering partners so that they can consult on the right technology stack. I think the first thing that's really important with Xero is, we were born in the cloud in 2006, and from day one built an open API. And so our API has always been published, and that has seen over 1,200 apps build on the back of the platform. And that takes us into industry-specific apps, that takes us into apps-specific that work on top of Xero for partners, reporting apps, forecasting apps. So it's a pretty broad ecosystem. And it's really important, particularly in a growth market. As you think about a lot of the ecosystem is building ahead of us, right? And so we can go to market together with them. And so we do believe in the sort of free market that's created in that. So if you think about, say, forecasting, in our stack of forecasting apps, when you go to our landing page, our app marketplace, there's a handful, right? You name off Spotlight, Futurely, Fathom, and as a few of them. So there's probably 5, 6, 7 plus of them. That, to us, creates almost like a bit of a competitive environment, right? There are ones that are stronger in certain elements. There's ones that are stronger for that type of client. And so what we've done with the app marketplace is made it much more easier to navigate and starting to actually suggest within the product around, hey, this might be the right app for you. So, and we are not necessarily picking winners, but what we're starting to do is we look at, say, take a vertical, and we did this with agriculture sort of as a case study. We worked with partners that looked after agriculture clients. We worked with banks that supported farmers, and we worked with the sort of farming associations that sit around the farming community, and sort of built a blueprint of what should Xero do, what should the farming app partner do, and what should be the integration points in the workflows. And let's disrupt ourselves. Let's not recreate desktop in the cloud. Let's think about the opportunity to do it differently. Once we built that blueprint, we then went out we published it, and we invited farming softwares all around the world to go, hey, this is what we've facilitated with the industry. The partner that builds best to this, we are going to promote as part of a really focused go-to-market strategy around agriculture. So we got to be really careful where you pick winners, because we want that competitive marketplace, and we want to see because that creates the innovation as they compete. But where there are certain verticals that are important to us, we want to create a fair level playing field like that and say, hey, if whoever nails us best, we do want to help go to market together as well.
I think that's really important to know, and it's one of the reasons why I come to Xero, is the opportunity that we have here is going to be capitalised and we believe that we will capitalise on it by having really an open ecosystem, right? Like, I think that advisors and our customers should think of us as that that bedrock of accounting, and where we can either build it ourselves, or an app partner can build it, or we partner together with them. At the end of the day, what we really care about is those North American, US and Canada customer outcomes, the partner outcomes and the small business outcomes. So however we think about doing that, ourselves, them, or together, if we get that outcome and we're just acutely focused on that outcome for that customer and partner, then that's where we see our value.
Right. And the win, right? The win for everybody.
Correct.
It's the
Yeah.
right product
Yeah.
in the end.
And to me, that creates a massive opportunity for advisors. So, one thing that's really impressed me about partners in the US, so they're picking their vertical niches. So I can serve clients of all shapes and sizes, and you see it out there in the Xero community. There'll be a firm that specialises in restaurants. There'll be a firm that specialises in looking after dentists. Yeah. And so what that's allowing those firms to do is actually go, right, instead of just doing tax return for dentists, we're actually going to become experts in, what are the financial metrics you should run a dentist practice on? What is the technology stack that is best to breed for our dentist clients, so they become experts on that? And so instead of just, if you think about revenue per client, they're not just doing a tax return, they're actually they're consulting, they're doing implementations, and almost becoming a managed service shop for those dentist type clients, using that example. And then they're able to move into that really good advisory around, right, hey, this is what we're seeing, this is what we think you could be improving. And so we're seeing a big shift in firms. Client accounting and advisory service is the fastest growing revenue line, and firms are really picking their vertical niches so that they can be experts in both that sector, the technology stack you need for that sector, and then ultimately the tax return becomes an end of year byproduct because you've done all that work throughout the go. So that's a huge, to me, it's just a big opportunity as the profession transforms.
So is Xero Structured, if that's the right term, again, I'm not a technology guy, but is Xero Structured such that it lends itself better for advisory?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think we founded the business. So Xero was founded on a tech entrepreneur who'd sold businesses off to Microsoft and was running around the world, and as accountant back in Wellington, New Zealand, was constantly saying, hey, I need your backup, I need your receipts and your shoebox to the tax return, or if you want that report. And they got together and said there must be a better way to do this. And so from day one, we built the platform to think about advisors and small business. So when you go into our software, there's the bits the small business sees, but I've got my advisor invited in, and they can see bits of the software that I can't see. So we want as many of the advisor workflows to sit in the same software that the small business is using. So if you think about the old world, we would take data out of whatever they were using, bring it into our system, which then means the systems are disparate, and then you've got the friction of the data traveling. That should all be happening in one. And then so we can get that basic compliance work done, which is still super important, but if we can get that done efficiently and quickly, you free up partners' time, and then they become more connected to the client. Oh, wow. So I've now got time and I'm more connected to the client, so I can see what they're doing throughout the year, which then means I can see where I can help them. And you sort of see the firm go into the step into advisor where I can now see, oh, their cash flow's not looking good, maybe I help them with some cash flow planning. And the exciting thing is that makes your tax return business much more sticky. And then for us, anyone who's ever done tax, it's a horrible thing of painful 2 or 3 months.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're sitting on your hands for a couple of months. And if we can do that work on the go, like I don't see advisory and tax as separate. They're sort of a spinning wheel. If we're doing bookkeeping on the go, the dirty secret is right up as just year-end bookkeeping and cleaning up a mess. Let's just do that bookkeeping with the client. Makes the tax return super quick and the cherry on the top. But we're now connected with that client, so we can see where they need help. We can grow additional services into them.
Yeah, and the more connected, the better for both, right? And
Yeah.
again, it makes you stickier as the small business, stickier customer for the accountant.
Yeah.
But also the accountant can bring so much more value.
Yeah, and I think, going to accounting, it's much more engaging work. So I think as you think about attracting people into the profession, suddenly what being an accountant means and a bookkeeper is totally different. Yes, more of the meaningful tasks are being automated, and we're able to move into this much more high value, more fun and engaging work. And so that's exciting to see. And you can see when you look at a lot of the practices out there, they're almost unrecognizable to a traditional firm. And CAS is growing really fast. It's the fastest growing service line and revenue for accountants in the US. And I think what we saw in the pandemic, and we saw that, small businesses suddenly went running to their accountants. I don't know if I have enough money. Do I need the PPP loan? I need up-to-date records. How do we do that? And these firms that had made that cloud transition and that advisory transition were ready to do that. And and if you think about the tough thing for accountants and bookkeepers, but they were also having to deal with how do we operate remote. And many of the traditional firms didn't even have laptops for their staff. So the pandemic really showed the importance of being able to operate remote as a practice and having that connection to your clients through the cloud, because if you didn't, it was almost near impossible as we went into those early lockdowns. And went through the world's never-ending tax seasons.
Exactly. Right. So 2 things before we run out of time. One on product, right? And that is, what's that feedback loop look like, right? So, because, you guys are out, you've got people running all around, the country or countries, and you've got, advisor 1 saying, oh, you need this, advisor 2 saying, no, you need this first, this is much more important. I mean, how does that, how do you coalesce all that and then so that you can go and fight for it where the dollars need to come from, right?
Yeah, so as Ben said, talking about like putting the partner at the forefront and the center of our business, I really think about this idea of community, as Ben said, and we use these communities to test and learn about what product should be the right product. So, using a variety of different software development techniques and product management and user-centered design techniques, we are out in the field testing wireframes, testing prototypes, getting feedback. We do that at a scientific level so that the type of feedback that we get, we can come back in and consolidate and make some decisions as to what is the thing that we roll out. But then the code that we write and then we roll out is always going to be iterative. So we will always be able to say, okay, we're going to push it, we're going to learn, we're going to observe how they use it, and if we need to change it, we can change it on a dime. So that's really important for the way that we build software. We're always constantly iterating on value.
And is that done small blocks at a time? Again,
small blocks at a time. Yeah. So we'll always,
we'll
always come out, for example, with US sales tax. Right. This is part of our roadmap. We talked about it earlier today. We're coming out with really some of the first slices of features. Right. We're thinking about how sales tax logic gets served up just in a plain invoice, right? And all the back end work that takes to calculate those sales tax codes and serve up the right sales tax rate on that invoice. But there is a whole world of sales tax, and when we're talking about filing and reporting and everything else that comes with that. So small, swift chunks, and we do that as we think about the way that value is delivered iteratively.
And speaking of value, that sales tax little piece of code apparently is worth billions of dollars, right? With the Avalara.
Well, exactly. And we're super excited with our partnership with Avalara. And when we talk about app partners, right? We were able to deburden from ourselves the work of having to figure out that logic, because we've got this really great partner who wants to jump in with us. So we're super, super thankful for that.
Absolutely. And then the last one on back on the partner program, one, what is it called?
The Xero Advisor. So it's the Xero Partner Program.
Okay, that's probably paid a marketing person thousands of dollars to come up with that one. But
it's so we, partner. So you can join the program. We support you in your early steps. So we have account managers, relationship managers that will support you to go on that journey. We have a whole lot of bookkeepers and ex-accountants that work for us as our partner consultants, for instance, that will help support firms to do training, education. So we have everything from all the online sessions right through to actually we show up in your office, particularly for some of the bigger firms trying to move across. That partner program gets you on our advisor directory. Okay. And so with a lot of the small businesses that sign up direct with Xero, we are asking them, hey, do you have an advisor or bookkeeper, and can we help them if they're new to the Xero journey, or we're pushing them to the advisor directory where they can find a partner in their area or in their vertical that can help them really well. We help with marketing, so we help with marketing. One of the really important things, which I think is quite, a lot of the new partners to us here in the US aren't so across, is that once you reach we have a whole lot of practice tools that we give you right out of the gate. So firm-wide reporting templates, so the ability for you to build reporting at a firm level and drop down to your clients' software, whether that be management reporting or compliance reporting. You can build those templates for your clients and drop them down really easily. And so you get that right out of the gates. And then as you hit silver status with us, we have a whole range of practice tools. So we have a practice management that was born in the cloud that helps firms really understand client groups, the profitability of their practice, and manage all the jobs and workflows connected into the Xero system. We have our partner edition plans that aren't available to small businesses direct, that you can use for running basically to get you a common GL platform across all your clients, even for the ones that are still maybe hanging onto the spreadsheet, you can have them in a Xero
Okay.
ledger. So you understand all those plans, and then and it's just changed. The biggest thing we do is change management. So once you're on that program, we're going to connect you into the community. And one of the things I love about the Xero community is it's a massive competition, not competition.
Right.
So all the partners out there, there's lots of new ones, there's lots of tenured ones, want to share how they've done it, want to share the pitfalls, want to share how they would do it differently, to get you through that change journey. And so you can start to learn and expose yourself to Xero, start to promote it to your clients, but also start to understand the efficiencies. The biggest driver often that firms jump on first is they can see the workflow efficiencies they'll get through working in the cloud on Xero and the practice tools. And then as they get connected to the clients, they can then see the revenue growth opportunities. Suddenly I can sell growth services or advisory services to that basic compliance client, and then lift the average ARPU, revenue per client up as well.
Okay. And I made one other note, and then we'll wrap it up. And that's the advisor directory. I've not seen that. Is that public facing, or
It is, yeah.
What's it called, or what's the URL?
I should. It's Xero.com/advisor.
Okay, so it just comes off
I
of.
hope it's that. If not, go to Xero.com, obviously with an X, and you'll see it's very front and center, find an accountant or a bookkeeper.
Okay.
And that's geo-tagged. So if you need to find an accountant or bookkeeper in Denver, Colorado, and you can search by different things. We have different certifications that will support, like migration cert for customers looking with help with that.
Okay.
If you've got certifications in certain verticals, if you're a certain size, so it's got a whole lot of different factors that shows that our most engaged, knowledgeable partners, so that a small business can find the right partner for them. If they want to join one of the big national firms, you can search by firm size, or you want to join a more boutique firm in your area. So we make it really easy for small business to find the right partner.
Okay. And then on the app side, is that same thing off of Xero.com? So Xero.com.
Xero.com, yeah.
Apps or whatever.
Go to the it's the app marketplace. Not sure on the URL on that. We'll have to try it /app marketplace, but otherwise go to the site and you'll see it. And the same thing, over 1,200 apps there. You can filter by industry. You can filter by type, whether it's payroll, whether it's reporting. There's lots of reviews there, so you can go through and read all the reviews on the different apps, and you can see who's got the most reviews, who's highest reviewed. And then we actually surface up within the Xero product too. Hey, we think given the type of business you're in, this might be a good app for you to look at.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Anything else before we close it up?
No, I think we're good.
Nope.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks
All right.
for
well,
having
thank you
time.
both. Appreciate
All right.
your time.
Cheers.
And
Thank
then
you.
we'll call it a day.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Awesome.